They thought locking a quiet black girl inside an empty gym would break her, but before the night was over, the cameras would show everyone that they had trapped the wrong student. Maya Carter stood alone at center court, her worn backpack resting near her feet, while the heavy gym door clicked shut behind her. The sound echoed across the polished hardwood like a final warning. Half the lights were off, leaving long shadows across the bleachers, the basketball hoops, and the folded mats stacked against the wall. Outside the small window in the door, Brittany Walker smiled with her phone raised, recording every second. Chloe Bennett stood beside her, already laughing, while Tyler Hayes leaned against the handle as if his weight made him powerful. Madison Reed hovered behind them, nervous but silent. "Welcome to Westbridge, new girl," Brittany called through the glass. "First lesson, people like you do not walk in here acting equal." Maya did not cry. She did not pound on the door. She did not give them the panic they came to film. She only looked at Brittany, then at Tyler, then at the red light blinking on the new security camera near the scoreboard. Her breathing slowed. Her shoulders settled. That calm made Brittany's smile twitch. She had expected begging. She had expected a scene. She had expected the quiet girl in the plain hoodie and scuffed sneakers to fold the moment the door locked. Instead, Maya stood still, eyes steady, studying the room like she was counting exits. Chloe lifted her phone higher. "Say something," she mocked. "Tell everybody how scared you are." Maya lowered her gaze to the floor for 1 second, not in fear, but in focus. Her father's voice moved through her memory as clear as if he were standing beside her in the garage back home. "Breathe first, look second, move only when you must." Brittany slapped the window with her palm, trying to make Maya flinch. Maya did not. "You think being silent makes you tough?" Brittany said. "Nobody here is scared of you. Nobody even wanted you here." Tyler laughed and shook the locked door handle. "She is not getting out until we get a good video." That was their mistake. They wanted fear so badly they forgot to notice the witnesses they had created. The fake message on Maya's phone. The group chat on Madison's screen. Chloe's recording. The hallway camera. The gym camera. Every cruel word, every locked door, every smirk pressed against the glass was becoming proof. Maya slowly picked up her backpack and set it on the bleachers, away from the door, away from their reach. Then she turned back toward them, her face calm, her voice low enough that they had to lean closer to hear it. "You should unlock the door now." Brittany stared at her for half a second, then burst out laughing. "Or what?" Maya did not answer. She only stepped back from the door, planting her feet with the balance of someone who had spent years learning how not to fall. What they did not know was that her father was a Marine who had taught her discipline before he ever taught her how to fight. And in that darkening gym, surrounded by cameras they had ignored, Maya Carter was no longer just the new girl they thought they could humiliate. She was the one person in Westbridge High who knew exactly how to stay calm when cowards mistook a locked door for power. 2 weeks before the gym door ever locked behind her, Maya Carter walked into Westbridge High School with a plain gray hoodie, scuffed black sneakers, and one goal: get through the day without becoming anybody's story. She was 16, African American, quiet in the way people often mistook for shy, with dark braided hair pulled back neatly and a backpack that had seen more moves than most students had seen report cards. Her father's new job had brought them to Ohio in the middle of the semester, which meant she entered Westbridge already behind in the one subject no school officially taught: knowing where to sit, who to avoid, which hallway belonged to which crowd, and whose smile was really a warning. Maya learned those things quickly. She noticed how students parted for certain people without being told. She noticed which teachers laughed too hard at popular kids' jokes. She noticed the security cameras above the main corridor, the side exit near the music room, and the way the gym hallway grew quiet after last bell. None of that was paranoia. It was habit. Her father had taught her that awareness was not fear. Awareness was respect for reality. That first morning, she stopped at the front office, signed a stack of transfer papers, and thanked the secretary for her schedule. The secretary looked surprised by the politeness, then smiled as if remembering Maya was a person and not just another file. "You will be fine, sweetheart," she said. Maya nodded, not because she believed it, but because she appreciated the kindness. In first period English, Maya took the empty seat near the back window. She opened her notebook, wrote the date in the upper corner, and copied the assignment before anyone else had finished complaining about it. When the boy in front of her dropped his pencil, she picked it up and placed it on his desk without making him feel embarrassed. When two girls across the aisle whispered and looked at her shoes, Maya kept writing. She had learned long ago that not every insult deserved the dignity of a reaction. By lunchtime, the cafeteria was a map of invisible borders. Athletes near the windows. Theater kids by the vending machines. Cheerleaders at the center tables where everyone could see them. Maya bought a turkey sandwich, an apple, and a carton of milk, then chose a small table near the wall. She did not sit there because she was afraid. She sat there because she could see both exits, the cashier line, and the main aisle without turning her head. A few students glanced at her. One laughed into a phone. Another said, "New girl," a little too loudly. Maya unwrapped her sandwich and ate slowly, her face calm. In her hoodie pocket, her phone buzzed with a message from her father, "First day. Eyes open. Heart steady." Maya smiled despite herself and typed back, "I am good." She did not mention the stairs. She did not mention the whispering. Sergeant Marcus Carter had raised her to tell the truth, but he had also raised her not to hand worry to people who could not fix it from miles away. After lunch, Maya found herself in physical education, standing along the gym wall while Coach Angela Price called attendance. Coach Price was in her late 30s, African American, sharp-eyed, and built like someone who had spent years proving discipline could be quieter than ego. She noticed Maya before Maya noticed her noticing. Not because Maya was loud. Because Maya stood differently. Most students leaned, slouched, bounced on their heels, or shifted with the lazy restlessness of teenagers waiting for instruction. Maya stood balanced, feet under her, shoulders loose, hands relaxed at her sides. Not stiff. Ready. The class began with a simple basketball drill, and Maya stayed near the back of the line, passing when told, moving when told, never trying to show off. Then a ball came loose from the other side of the court, thrown too hard by a boy who immediately yelled, "Heads up." The ball cut toward Maya's face fast enough that 3 students flinched before it reached her. Maya's hand came up without panic. She caught it cleanly with one palm against her other hand, absorbed the force, and lowered it as if nothing unusual had happened. For half a second, the gym went quiet. Maya looked at the boy who had thrown it and gently bounced it back. "You are good," she said. No sarcasm. No anger. Just calm. Coach Price watched from near the whistle rack, her eyebrows lifting slightly. That was not luck. Lucky students flinched first. Maya had not flinched at all. Later, when the class stretched near the bleachers, another student complained about sore ankles, and Maya quietly showed her how to adjust her stance so her knees did not collapse inward. The girl blinked. "How do you know that?" Maya shrugged. "My dad is strict about basics." She said it lightly, like it meant nothing. But Coach Price heard it. After school, Maya walked home along the sidewalk instead of waiting for a ride. Westbridge was colder than the last town, the kind of Midwest cold that slipped through hoodie sleeves and made breath visible by late afternoon. She stopped at a crosswalk, helped an older woman pick up a dropped grocery bag, and kept moving. At home, their rented duplex smelled faintly of cardboard boxes, lemon cleaner, and the chicken her father had left marinating in the refrigerator. Marcus Carter was not home yet, but his presence lived everywhere, shoes lined neatly. By the door, a folded flag in a shadow box on the shelf, an old Marine Corps photograph in the hallway, a pair of worn training gloves hanging in the garage. Maya placed her backpack on a chair, checked the lock on the front door, and went to the garage before starting homework. She did not train hard that day. Just 20 minutes. Footwork squares taped on the concrete. Slow breathing. Step, pivot, reset. Step, angle, reset. Her movements were smooth, controlled, almost silent except for the soft scrape of sneakers. She was not practicing to hurt anyone. She was practicing not to freeze. When Marcus came home, he stood in the doorway for a moment, still in his work jacket, watching her finish the final round. He was 44, African-American, broad-shouldered, with a Marine's posture and a father's tired eyes. "First day bring trouble?" he asked. Maya stopped, breathing evenly. "Not trouble." He gave her the look that meant he heard the space around her answer. "Attention?" She nodded once. "Some." Marcus stepped into the garage and picked up the focus mitts, but he did not put them on yet. Attention is not always danger. But danger usually wants attention first. Maya smiled faintly. "That sounds like something you practiced in the mirror. It sounds like something you need to remember." He tapped the side of his head. "Your first defense is not your hands. It is your judgment. You do not start fights. You do not perform for people with phones. You do not let pride pick your battles." Maya repeated the line because she had heard it since she was 10. "If there is a safe exit, take it. And if there is not..." Her expression changed just slightly, growing more focused. "Breathe. Find space. Protect myself. End the danger. Tell the truth." Marcus nodded. "Good." That night, Maya finished her homework at the kitchen table while Marcus cleaned the stove and asked about her teachers. She told him about English, chemistry, the cafeteria, Coach Price, and the basketball she had caught without thinking. Marcus looked at her over his coffee mug. "Without thinking is why we train slowly." Maya rolled her eyes, but she was smiling. Still, when she went upstairs, she opened a small notebook and wrote the date, the school name, and 3 observations: cafeteria center table controls attention, gym hallway quiet after last bell, Coach Price notices details. It was not a complaint log yet. It was just Maya being Maya. Careful. Kind. Quiet. Ready. At Westbridge High, people saw a new black girl in an old hoodie who kept her head down and sat alone at lunch. They saw someone easy to test, easy to isolate, easy to underestimate. What they did not see was the discipline beneath the silence, the years of training hidden inside ordinary movements, or the father who had taught her that real strength did not announce itself in hallways. It waited, steady and patient, until the moment there was no safe exit left. Brittany Walker did not need a crown to rule Westbridge High, because everyone had already learned to make room when she walked by. She was 17, white, blonde, polished, and practiced in the art of making cruelty look like confidence. Her cheerleading jacket was always spotless, her phone was always in her hand, and her smile changed depending on who was watching. In front of teachers, it was bright and harmless. In front of nervous freshmen, it sharpened. In front of students with no social protection, it became a warning. Westbridge treated her like school royalty because she brought trophies, attention, and money through the doors. Her father owned 3 dealerships in the county and had paid for the new scoreboard in the gym, the cheer team's travel uniforms, and half the equipment in the athletic wing. Her mother chaired the parent booster committee and knew how to turn every complaint about Brittany into a misunderstanding, jealousy, or teenage drama. By the time Maya Carter arrived at Westbridge, Brittany had already learned one dangerous lesson too well: consequences were for students without sponsors. Her table in the cafeteria sat in the center of the room, not because it was officially reserved, but because no one else dared sit there. Chloe Bennett always sat to her right, thin, pale, sharp-eyed, and smiling at whatever Brittany decided was funny. Chloe was not the strongest voice in the group, but she was the most useful. She knew angles, captions, edits, and timing. A 10-second clip in Chloe's hands could become a rumor by lunch and a reputation by the final bell. Madison Reed sat to Brittany's left, quieter than the others, always laughing half a second late, always checking Brittany's face before deciding how she felt. Madison had not started as cruel. She had started as afraid of being alone, and Brittany knew how to turn that fear into loyalty. Tyler Hayes, tall, white, athletic, and used to applause, drifted in and out of their circle whenever it suited him. He played varsity basketball, wore confidence like a Letterman jacket, and laughed loudest when someone smaller was being embarrassed. Together, they gave Brittany exactly what every bully needs: an audience, a camera, and people willing to pretend they were not responsible because they were only watching. Brittany's power had been built slowly. In 9th grade, she had convinced half the class that a girl named Leah smelled bad after Leah beat her in a student council speech. By winter break, Leah ate lunch in the library. In 10th grade, Brittany posted a cropped video of a boy crying after practice, cutting out the part where Tyler and 2 others had cornered him with insults. The boy transferred schools by spring, and Brittany told everyone he had always been unstable. Last year, a sophomore reported harassment after Brittany's group flooded her messages for weeks. The school called it peer conflict. The principal held a restorative conversation. Brittany cried at the right moment, promised to do better, and left the office with no suspension, no record, and 300 new followers after posting a vague message about fake friends and jealousy. That was how she survived. She never looked like the whole storm. She looked like a popular girl standing near the rain. Teachers saw her fundraising. Coaches saw her leadership. Administrators saw her father's checks. Students saw the damage. Those were 2 different schools inside the same building. The official Westbridge had banners, awards, diversity posters, and a principal who used phrases like safe environment during assemblies. The real Westbridge had rules nobody printed. Do not sit at Brittany's table. Do not correct Brittany in public. Do not become the reason Brittany feels laughed at. And most of all, do not make her feel ordinary. Maya did that without even trying. On the second day after Maya arrived, Coach Angela Price asked her after gym class whether she had ever trained before. It was a simple question, asked quietly near the bleachers, but Brittany saw it from across the court. She saw Coach Price's interest. She saw Maya's modest shrug. She saw the way Maya did not glow under attention or beg for more of it. That bothered Brittany more than any insult would have. Westbridge was supposed to orbit around girls like her. New girls were supposed to look around, measure the hierarchy, and try to survive it by offering respect to the people who mattered. Maya did not offer disrespect. That was the problem. She offered nothing. She moved through the hallway as if Brittany's power had no claim on her. She ate alone without looking lonely. She answered teachers without showing off. She ignored whispers not because she was too weak to respond, but because the whispers did not seem heavy enough to carry. Brittany noticed the difference before she understood it, and because she could not understand it, she decided to punish it. The first time Brittany truly studied Maya, she was standing at her locker before 3rd period, placing books in careful order. Maya wore the same gray hoodie, clean but plain, with sleeves pushed slightly over her wrists. Her braids were neat, her face calm, her eyes focused on the combination lock. Students moved around her without greeting her. To Brittany, that looked like opportunity. A girl with no crowd. No older sibling at the school. No rich last name. No visible protection. A black transfer student in a hallway where Brittany already controlled the narrative. Brittany leaned against the lockers with Chloe beside her, watching Maya close her bag. She acts like she is not scared, Chloe said, already lifting her phone just enough to frame Maya without being obvious. Brittany smiled. Everybody is scared. Some people just need help remembering it. Chloe giggled. Madison looked uncomfortable but said nothing. Tyler walked up eating chips from a bag and followed their gaze. That the new girl? Brittany nodded. That is the one Coach Price was talking to. Tyler smirked. Looks quiet. Quiet is not the same as innocent, Brittany said, though she had no reason to say it except that the sentence sounded useful. That was how it often began with her. She would create a label first, then wait for reality to bend around it. Dangerous. Weird. Angry. Desperate. Jealous. Once a word stuck, Brittany could make anything a person did seem like proof. If Maya ignored her, she was stuck up. If Maya answered, she had attitude. If Maya defended herself, she was aggressive. Brittany had used that trick before, and Westbridge had rewarded her with silence. Later that day, in the cheer locker room, Brittany sat beneath the mirror light scrolling through her feed while Chloe showed her a short clip from gym class. It was Maya catching the basketball cleanly with one hand. Nothing dramatic. Nothing wrong. But Chloe slowed it down, zoomed in, and added a teasing sound effect. We could make it look like she thinks she is some action hero, Chloe said. Brittany watched the clip twice. What bothered her was not the catch. It was Maya's face after it happened. Calm. Not embarrassed. Not proud. Not grateful for attention. Just steady. Do not post it yet, Brittany said. Chloe looked surprised. Why not? Because one clip is random. A pattern is better. That was Brittany at her most dangerous. She did not just react. She curated. She understood that humiliation worked best when it felt deserved to the people who had not been paying attention. So she began collecting moments. Maya walking alone. Maya sitting near the cafeteria wall. Maya talking to Coach Price. Maya refusing to smile when Tyler made a joke too close to her. Each little piece could be shaped later. Each piece could help build the version of Maya that Brittany wanted the school to see. By the end of the week, the phrase "angry new girl" had begun floating through Westbridge without anyone knowing who had said it first. Brittany knew. Chloe knew. Madison knew and hated that she knew. The teachers did not notice, or chose not to. Principal Elaine Porter was busy preparing for a district visit and did not want another student conflict landing on her desk. The cheer team had regionals coming. The basketball team was undefeated. The school's image looked clean from the outside, and that was what adults in power often protected first. Brittany understood that too. Image was armor. If she wore enough of it, she could bruise other people while everyone admired the shine. What she did not understand was Maya Carter. She did not understand why Maya's hands stayed relaxed when people whispered. She did not understand why Maya's eyes moved calmly toward exits, cameras, and open space. She did not understand why Coach Price watched Maya like someone recognizing training. And she did not understand that the girl she had decided to isolate was not alone in the way Brittany thought. Maya carried her father's discipline in every step. She carried years of restraint under that plain hoodie. She carried the quiet confidence of someone who had been taught that real strength did not need a hallway kingdom. Brittany had spent years learning how to win against students who feared being seen. Maya had spent years learning how to stay steady when pressure closed in. That difference would matter soon. Because Brittany Walker, used to winning through whispers, cameras, and adults looking away, had already decided to make Maya Carter her next lesson. She just had no idea that every move she made from that moment forward would teach the school something about her instead. The cafeteria test happened on a Thursday, just when Westbridge High was loud enough for cruelty to hide inside ordinary noise. Maya Carter had made it through the morning without trouble, taking notes in chemistry, helping a freshman find the attendance office, and keeping her head down when whispers followed her near the trophy case. By lunch, she carried a tray with a chicken wrap, apple slices, and a carton of milk toward the same small table near the wall where she could see both exits. She was not trying to make a statement. She was not trying to challenge anyone. She simply wanted to eat, finish her history reading, and get through another day without becoming the center of someone else's entertainment. But Brittany Walker had been waiting for exactly that kind of quiet. Maya saw her before the confrontation began. Brittany stood near the center tables in her cheer jacket, blonde hair falling neatly over one shoulder, phone in hand, Chloe Bennett beside her with that ready-to-record smile, Madison Reed behind them looking unsure, and Tyler Hayes leaning against a chair like the cafeteria belonged to him too. Maya did not slow down. She adjusted her grip on the tray, kept her shoulders relaxed, and walked along the aisle. Brittany stepped into her path with perfect timing, just close enough to block her without making it look obvious to teachers across the room. "You keep sitting alone," Brittany said, her voice sweet enough for nearby adults and sharp enough for students to hear the blade underneath. "Is that a choice, or is nobody inviting you?" A few students nearby turned. Chloe's phone tilted upward. Maya looked at the phone, then at Brittany's face. "I am just trying to get to lunch." Brittany smiled wider. "That is cute. You talk like you are above everybody." "No," Maya said calmly. "I talk like I am hungry." A couple of students snickered before they could stop themselves. It was small, almost nothing, but Brittany heard it. Her eyes cooled. She glanced down at Maya's hoodie, then her sneakers, then the tray in her hands. "You know, when people transfer here, they usually try to fit in. They do not walk around like the rules do not apply to them." Maya kept her voice even. "I did not know eating lunch had rules." Tyler laughed from behind Brittany. "She has jokes." "Not jokes," Maya said. "Just a tray." She shifted slightly to move around Brittany, but Brittany placed one hand on the edge of the tray, stopping it. Not hard enough to knock anything over, just enough to show everyone she could. The cafeteria noise dipped. Maya felt the attention gather around them, tables turning, phones rising, whispers tightening. Her father's voice moved through her mind, "Do not let pride choose the room." She breathed once. Her hands stayed steady. The milk carton did not shake. The apple slices did not slide. Brittany pressed down a little harder, testing her. "Careful," Brittany said. "People around here might think you have an attitude." Maya looked at Brittany's hand on the tray. Then she looked back at her eyes. "Please move your hand." The politeness made it worse. If Maya had snapped, Brittany could have used that. If Maya had raised her voice, Chloe could have clipped it. If Maya had looked scared, Brittany could have fed on it. But Maya did none of those things. She stood balanced, feet planted, elbows loose, tray held level as if the pressure on it meant nothing. Brittany felt, with sudden irritation, that she was the one trying too hard. "You always this stiff?" Brittany asked. "Or is that just how girls like you act when you are pretending not to be scared?" Madison's face tightened. Chloe's phone came higher. Maya's eyes flicked once to the camera above the cafeteria entrance, then back to Brittany. "I am not scared of lunch." Again, a few students reacted before hiding it. Brittany's jaw tightened. She leaned closer, lowering her voice while keeping her smile. "Listen, new girl. I do not know where you came from, but this is not one of those schools where you get attention by acting tough." Maya answered quietly. "I am not acting tough." "Then what are you acting?" "Patient." The word landed cleanly. Brittany's smile disappeared for half a second. Tyler straightened from the chair, sensing the shift but not understanding it. Chloe looked excited, waiting for the moment Maya would finally give them something ugly enough to post. Maya gave them nothing. She did not threaten. She did not insult. She did not shove. She simply waited, her tray still level beneath Brittany's hand. Coach Angela Price entered the cafeteria through the side doors just then, carrying a clipboard and scanning the room with the alertness of someone who knew teenage silence could be louder than shouting. She saw the cluster around Maya. She saw Brittany's hand on the tray. She saw Maya's posture, calm but ready, and her expression sharpened. Before Coach Price could cross the room, Brittany noticed her and lifted her hand from the tray as if she had only been joking. "Relax," Brittany said loudly. "We were just welcoming her." Maya did not look away from Brittany. "Then thank you for the welcome." She stepped around her and walked to the wall table without spilling a drop. The cafeteria exhaled. It should have ended there. For anyone else, maybe it would have. But Brittany stood in the aisle, heat rising under her perfect makeup, listening to the whispers that followed Maya instead of fearing her. The new girl had not apologized. She had not begged to belong. She had not flinched when Brittany touched the tray. Worse, she had made Brittany look like the one blocking someone over nothing. When Maya sat down, she opened her notebook beside her lunch and wrote the date, the time, cafeteria, tray blocked, Brittany, Chloe recording, Tyler present, Madison present, Coach Price entered. Her handwriting was small and neat. Chloe zoomed in from across the room but could not see what she wrote. Brittany could. Not the words, but the act. The quiet record-keeping. The refusal to crumble. It made her feel watched in a way she hated. Tyler came up beside Brittany and muttered, "You going to let her make you look stupid?" Brittany's eyes stayed on Maya. "She did not make me look anything." But her voice lacked its usual ease. Madison whispered, "Maybe just leave her alone. She is not doing anything." Brittany turned slowly toward her. Madison looked down. That restored a little of Brittany's balance. Fear still worked somewhere. But not on Maya. Not yet. Brittany picked up Chloe's phone and replayed the clip. It showed her blocking Maya, Maya asking to pass, and the tray staying steady no matter how much Brittany pressed. It did not make Maya look angry. It made her look controlled. Brittany hated that most of all. "Delete that part," she said. Chloe blinked. "Which part?" "The part where she looks calm." Chloe grinned, understanding now. "We can cut it after she says she is not scared." Brittany's smile returned, smaller and meaner. "Good. Then we start asking why the new girl keeps talking about fear." Across the cafeteria, Maya ate her lunch slowly, pretending not to notice them. But she noticed. Everything. The phone. The whispering. Tyler's stare. Madison's discomfort. Coach Price watching from near the doors. She did not know exactly what Brittany planned next, but she knew the first test had ended in a way bullies could not forgive. Brittany had reached for control and found none. Maya had not bowed, and in Brittany's world, that was the same as rebellion. By the time the bell rang, the video was already being trimmed, the rumor already being shaped, and Brittany Walker had made her decision. If the quiet black girl would not learn her place from a warning, then Brittany would create a lesson big enough for the whole school to watch. By Friday morning, Brittany Walker had stopped treating Maya Carter like a new student and started treating her like a project. The cafeteria clip appeared before first period, trimmed so carefully that the truth had been cut out and the lie had room to breathe. It did not show Brittany stepping in Maya's path. It did not show Brittany putting her hand on the tray. It did not show Maya asking politely to pass. It began with Maya saying, "I am not scared of lunch," then froze on her calm face while Chloe's caption flashed across the screen, "New girl already acting tough." By the time Maya reached her locker, the clip had moved through Westbridge like smoke under a closed door. Students who had never spoken to her looked up and whispered. A boy near the water fountain said, "That is her," as if Maya were a headline instead of a person. A girl she had helped on her first day looked away quickly, embarrassed by kindness she no longer knew how to defend. Maya heard the whispers. She felt the shift. But she did not chase the rumor. She opened her locker, placed her books inside, and wrote one line in her notebook before the bell rang, edited cafeteria video posted by Chloe Bennett, shared by Brittany Walker. Her hand did not shake. That irritated Brittany more than any argument could have. A person who panicked could be controlled. A person who begged could be shaped. Maya did neither. She moved through the morning with the same quiet discipline, answering questions when teachers called on her, saying thank you when someone handed back a worksheet, and keeping her eyes open without looking afraid. In second period, Brittany passed Maya's desk on the way to the pencil sharpener even though she had a mechanical pencil in her hand. She let a folded note slide onto Maya's notebook. Maya opened it only after Brittany walked away. For words had been written in glitter pen, "Still think you belong." Maya folded the paper once, placed it inside the back pocket of her notebook, and returned to the lesson. She did not look at Brittany. She did not give Chloe, who was watching from 2 rows over, even a second of usable footage. At lunch, the center tables were louder than usual. Brittany had discovered that the fastest way to make cruelty spread was to let other people feel included in it. She did not stand on a chair or make a speech. She did something worse. She acted as if the rumor were already common knowledge. When Maya entered the cafeteria, Brittany tilted her head and said just loudly enough for nearby tables to hear, "Everybody stay calm. She is probably just here for lunch, not a fight." Laughter rose in pieces. Maya walked past without stopping. Tyler Hayes stuck one long leg slightly into the aisle, not enough to trip her unless she reacted badly, but enough to force a choice: step over him and look ridiculous, ask him to move and look afraid, or brush past and give them a clip. Maya paused, looked at his shoe, and waited. Tyler smirked. "Problem? Your foot is in the walkway," Maya said. Her voice was even. Tyler spread his hands. "Walk around." Maya shifted one step to the left, passed behind him, and kept moving. It was not dramatic. That was why it worked. Tyler looked smaller than he expected to feel. Chloe lowered her phone, disappointed. Brittany watched Maya sit at the wall table and open her lunch like nothing had happened. Something cold moved behind Brittany's smile. "She thinks she is untouchable," she muttered. Madison Reed heard it and looked down at her tray. "Maybe she just does not want trouble." Brittany turned to her slowly. "Then she should stop acting like she is better than everybody." Madison did not answer. She knew better. By the end of the day, the next version of the rumor had arrived. Maya was not just quiet anymore. She was arrogant. She was aggressive. She was probably trained to hurt people. No one had evidence for that, but Brittany understood that people did not always need evidence if the story made them feel safely distant from the target. In the hallway after last bell, Maya stopped at a bulletin board to read a flyer about the after-school boxing club. Coach Angela Price had written the schedule in blue marker and taped it beside the gym entrance. Brittany appeared beside her as if by accident. "Thinking about joining?" she asked. Maya looked at the flyer. "Maybe. You should be careful," Brittany said. "Some clubs are not for everyone." Maya turned to her, face calm. "Is there a requirement?" "Social awareness," Brittany said, smiling. "Knowing when people do not want you around." Maya let a quiet second pass. "Coach Price invited me to try." That sentence did more damage than Maya intended. Brittany's smile stiffened. Coach Price had never begged Brittany to join anything. Coach Price corrected her posture in front of the team, refused to laugh at her jokes, and treated school donors as if they were not more important than students. If Coach Price had noticed Maya, then Maya had taken something Brittany believed belonged to her, attention that could not be bought by followers, trophies, or booster money. Brittany stepped closer. "You really do not get it, do you?" Maya closed her notebook and slipped it into her backpack. "I get enough. Not here." Brittany leaned in, voice soft. "Here, people remember who makes things hard for them." Maya looked at her, not angry, not impressed. "Then they must have good memories." Chloe gave a small laugh before covering it, and Brittany shot her a look that ended it. Maya walked away, leaving Brittany standing under the boxing club flyer with the first real stain of humiliation on her face. That night, the social media trap became organized. Brittany created a private group chat called Westbridge Watch, pretending it was a joke, and added Chloe, Tyler, Madison, and several students who liked being near power even when it made them ugly. The first message was a screenshot of Maya walking alone near the buses. Brittany wrote, "New Girl Patrol." Chloe added the cafeteria clip with a laughing emoji. Tyler wrote, "She moves like she wants somebody to try her." Another student asked if Maya had actually done anything. Brittany answered, "Not yet." That was the poison. Not yet turned Maya into a threat waiting to happen. Not yet made every calm movement suspicious. Not yet gave the group permission to watch her, record her, provoke her, and still pretend they were protecting the school. Madison stared at the messages in her bedroom, thumb hovering over the screen. She wanted to leave the chat. She did not. She turned off notifications instead, as if silence could make her innocent. Monday began with Maya's locker decorated in small, humiliating ways meant to look childish if reported and cruel if endured. A sticky note on the door said "Smile more." Another said "Do you even have friends?" Someone had taped a printed screenshot of her paused face from Chloe's video, eyebrows serious, mouth mid-word, edited to make her look angry. Students walked past pretending not to stare. Maya removed each note carefully, folded them into her notebook, and cleaned the tape from the locker with a tissue from her backpack. She did not slam the door. She did not storm to the office. She did exactly what her father had taught her: name the problem, keep the evidence, do not feed the performance. When Coach Price saw her in the hallway before gym, she slowed. "Maya," she said quietly. "Everything all right?" Maya looked toward the cluster of students near the trophy case, where Chloe's phone disappeared behind a textbook. "It is getting loud," she said. Coach Price's face tightened. "Loud how?" Maya opened her notebook just enough to show dates, names, and short descriptions. Coach Price did not touch it. She only read the first few lines and looked back at Maya with a new seriousness. "You did the right thing writing this down. My dad says memory is good, but records are better." Coach Price nodded. "Your dad is right. I am going to send an email to Principal Porter." Maya's eyes flicked toward the hallway camera. "Will that make it worse?" Coach Price did not lie to her. "It might before it gets better." Maya absorbed that. "Then I will be careful." "Careful does not mean alone," Coach Price said. Maya looked at her then, and for the first time that morning, some of the weight showed behind her eyes. Not fear. Exhaustion. The cost of staying calm while other people tried to turn calm into weakness. "Yes, ma'am," she said. But Brittany saw the conversation from the far end of the hall, and she read it through the only language she trusted: control. Maya had gone to an adult. Maya had kept records. Maya had not simply absorbed the humiliation and disappeared like other students had. That meant Brittany needed to move the story faster than the truth could catch up. By gym class, the next step was ready. The students were supposed to run laps, then split into stations. Maya changed into gym shoes and came out of the locker room to find her sneakers missing from the bench where she had placed them. Her old everyday shoes sat there, but the black training shoes her father had bought her for school were gone. For 1 second, her jaw tightened. They were not expensive, but Marcus had driven 20 miles to find a pair that fit her stance correctly. The shoes mattered because he had cared enough to choose them. Across the room, Brittany stretched with the cheer girls, watching without looking like she was watching. Chloe whispered something and smiled. Tyler bounced a basketball near the bleachers. Maya crouched, checked beneath the bench, opened her locker again, and then stood. Coach Price approached before Maya had to call her. "Missing?" Maya nodded. "My black gym shoes." Coach Price scanned the room. Everybody pause. The gym quieted. Brittany looked annoyed. "Seriously? We are stopping class for shoes. Coach Price's voice stayed level. We are stopping class because equipment and personal property do not disappear in my gym. Tyler rolled the ball between his hands. Maybe she lost them. Maya looked at him. I did not. There was no accusation in her tone. Just fact. That made several students look at Tyler instead of Maya. He laughed too loudly. Why are you looking at me? Coach Price sent 2 students to check the lost and found and asked another to look near the bleachers. The shoes were eventually found behind a stack of folded mats, laces tied together. Chloe tried to giggle, but Coach Price heard it. Something funny? Chloe shook her head quickly. Brittany crossed her arms. Maybe she should keep track of her stuff. Maya took the shoes from Coach Price and untied the laces slowly. She did not look at Brittany. She did not need to. Thank you, she said to the coach. Then she put them on and joined the line for laps. Coach Price watched Maya's first few steps and saw again what she had noticed before: balance, restraint, economy of movement. A student missing shoes should have looked rattled. Maya looked focused. Not cold. Not emotionless. Focused. That afternoon, Coach Price sent the first email to Principal Elaine Porter. The subject line was simple: concern regarding student harassment pattern. She listed the cafeteria incident, the edited video, the locker notes, the missing shoes, and the names that kept appearing around each event. She asked for camera footage to be reviewed and for the matter to be addressed before it escalated. Principal Porter read the email between meetings and sighed. Not because she did not care at all, but because caring properly would be inconvenient. The district visit was 2 weeks away. The cheer team was preparing for regionals. The Walker family had just pledged money for new athletic banners. Porter replied with language that sounded responsible without promising much: thank you for documenting, continue to monitor, encourage students to resolve peer conflict constructively. Coach Price read the reply twice, her expression hardening. Peer conflict. That was how schools buried patterns without calling them what they were. The next day, Brittany found a new angle. If Maya would not explode from public teasing, maybe she could be framed as the kind of girl everyone should fear. Chloe recorded Maya during passing period, waiting until Tyler brushed past her shoulder in the crowded hallway. He made it look accidental, but he leaned his weight into it just enough to test her balance. Maya stepped aside, pivoted smoothly, and avoided bumping into a smaller student carrying a stack of papers. The papers did not fall. The student looked up, startled, and Maya steadied the top folder with 2 fingers. You are okay, Maya said. The moment was kind. Chloe cut that part out. The clip that spread later showed only Tyler moving near Maya and Maya turning quickly, her face serious. The caption read, "Why does she move like that when people walk by?" Then came the comments. She is scary. She wants attention. Somebody should check her backpack. Maya saw the post after school while sitting on the bus stop bench. Her face went still. Not blank. Still. There was a difference. Her phone buzzed with a text from her father: dinner at 6. I got the good rice. She almost smiled, then put the phone away without telling him yet. Not because she wanted to hide the truth, but because she wanted to bring him facts, not fear. At home, she added screenshots to a folder, wrote down the new post, and placed the folded locker notes inside a manila envelope. Marcus noticed the envelope when he came into the kitchen. That school giving you a reason to document? Maya looked up from her homework. For a moment, the daughter in her wanted to say no, to protect the tiredness in his face. But Marcus Carter had never trained her to survive by lying to people who loved her. Some students are trying to get a reaction, she said. Marcus set the grocery bag down slowly. Names: Brittany Walker, Chloe Bennett, Tyler Hayes. Madison Reed is around it, but she seems scared. Marcus listened without interrupting as Maya described the edited video, the locker notes, the missing shoes, the hallway clip. He did not storm. He did not grab his keys. He pulled out a chair and sat across from her, which somehow made the room feel more serious than if he had shouted. "Have you reported it?" Coach Price emailed the principal. "Good." He nodded once. "Keep everything. Do not answer online. Do not meet anger with anger. If they want a performance, do not give them one." Maya looked down. "What if they keep pushing?" Marcus's voice softened. "Then the truth keeps growing. And if there is no safe exit, you know what to do." She met his eyes. "Breathe. Find space. Protect myself. End the danger. Tell the truth." "Exactly." He reached across the table and tapped the notebook lightly. "This is part of protecting yourself too." By Wednesday, Brittany's patience had thinned. The rumors had spread, but Maya still walked calmly. The locker notes had failed. The shoes had been found. The hallway clip had earned comments but not a collapse. Worse, Coach Price had begun positioning herself closer whenever Maya entered the gym. Brittany could feel the window closing. So she made the humiliation more public. During lunch, Chloe started a whispered challenge at the center tables: "Ask Maya why she is so mad all the time." It moved from table to table until a freshman boy, eager for approval, walked near Maya's wall table and said, "Why do you always look like you are about to fight somebody?" Maya looked up from her textbook. "I am reading about the American Revolution." The boy blinked. A few students laughed, not cruelly this time, but because the answer made the setup look foolish. Brittany's face burned. She stood and walked over before the moment could turn. "You always have something smart to say," she said. Maya closed her textbook halfway. "I answer questions." "No," Brittany said. "You act like everybody owes you respect." Maya looked at her for a long second. Everybody owes everybody basic respect. That line should not have sounded rebellious. It was the kind of sentence adults put on posters near guidance offices. But coming from Maya, in front of students who had watched Brittany decide who deserved dignity and who did not, it cut deeper than an insult. Brittany leaned over the table, one palm pressed flat near Maya's lunch. "You need to stop acting like a victim." The cafeteria hushed again. Maya's face did not change, but her eyes sharpened. "I did not say I was one." Chloe's phone was up now, obvious. Tyler stood behind Brittany, arms folded. Madison stayed back, chewing her thumbnail. Brittany lowered her voice. "Then stop collecting little notes like you are building some case. It is weird." Maya understood then that Brittany had seen the notebook. That meant this was not random anymore. This was about stopping the record. "If nothing is happening," Maya said, "the notes should not matter." Brittany's smile became thin. "You think adults are going to save you?" "I think adults should do their jobs." Tyler muttered, "Careful." Maya looked at him, then back at Brittany. She did not rise. She did not step toward them. She stayed seated, hands visible, voice calm. "I would like to finish my lunch." Brittany stared at her, and for the first time, there was no joke ready. Maya had not given her fear. Maya had not given her rage. Maya had given her a mirror, and Brittany hated what it showed. The bell rang a minute later, breaking the scene before Brittany could find a clean exit. But as students moved toward the doors, Brittany leaned close enough that only Maya and Chloe's phone could hear. "You want to write things down," she whispered. "Write this. By next week, nobody here is going to want your name near theirs." Maya watched her walk away. Then she opened the notebook and wrote the exact words. That night, the Westbridge Watch group chat changed from mockery to planning. Brittany wrote that Maya was trying to get people in trouble. Tyler called her a snitch. Chloe suggested they needed a real video, something better than cafeteria clips and hallway moments. Madison typed, "Maybe this is going too far," then deleted it before sending. Brittany saw the typing bubble disappear. She messaged Madison privately, "You are not getting soft, are you?" Madison stared at the screen, heart pounding, then replied, "No." Brittany sent back a smile emoji. It felt less like a smile than a lock turning. The next morning, Coach Price requested camera review again. Principal Porter delayed again. Maya continued writing. Marcus continued reminding her that discipline was not the absence of anger, but the decision not to let anger drive. And Brittany continued mistaking restraint for weakness because weakness was the only language she knew how to exploit. By the end of the week, everyone at Westbridge could feel something building, even if they could not name it. Students watched Maya more carefully now, not just because of the rumors, but because she refused to become the version of herself Brittany kept advertising. Coach Price watched the hallways. Madison saved screenshots without knowing why. Chloe kept recording. Tyler kept testing the edges. Brittany kept smiling for adults and sharpening herself for Maya. Each move she made was meant to corner the quiet black girl into one ugly reaction. But every move created another witness, another timestamp, another reason the truth would eventually have weight. Brittany thought she was tightening a trap around Maya Carter. What she was really doing was building the case against herself, one cruel little decision at a time. That evening, long after the last rumor had been posted and the last school hallway had gone quiet, Maya Carter stood barefoot on the cool concrete floor of her father's garage with a strip of blue painter's tape laid out beneath her feet in a square. The rented duplex was small, the kind of place where every sound carried through thin walls, but the garage had become their one steady room. Boxes were stacked against the side wall, still labeled kitchen, winter clothes, books, and old papers. A folded American flag sat inside a wooden case on a shelf above a toolbox. Beside it hung a framed photograph of Sergeant Marcus Carter in his Marine Corps dress uniform, younger, straighter, eyes fixed forward with the same calm seriousness Maya had inherited. Below the photo were 2 pairs of old boxing gloves, a jump rope, a medicine ball, and a heavy bag worn smooth in the center from years of controlled practice. Nothing in that garage looked flashy. Nothing looked like it belonged in a movie. That was how Marcus preferred it. He had always told Maya that real discipline did not need bright lights. It needed repetition when nobody was watching. Maya moved slowly through the tape square, step, pivot, reset, step, angle, reset, breathing through her nose and keeping her shoulders loose. Her father stood across from her in a faded Marine Corps sweatshirt, arms folded, watching the way only he could watch, not judging, not praising too early, just measuring whether her mind was staying ahead of her feet. "Again," he said. Maya repeated the movement. Slower. She did it again. "You are rushing the turn." Maya stopped, exhaled, and looked down at the tape. "I am not rushing." Marcus raised one eyebrow. "You are thinking about school." She wanted to deny it, but the truth had always had a way of standing taller in that garage. "A little." "Then you are rushing." Maya wiped a hand across her forehead and stepped back into position. Her hair was tied back, her face serious, and the calm she wore at Westbridge looked different here. At school, her calm was armor. In the garage, it was work. Marcus picked up the focus mitts but did not raise them yet. "Tell me what happened today." Maya looked toward the open notebook sitting on a folding chair near the wall. The manila envelope beside it had grown thicker, locker notes, screenshots, dates, names, printed stills from Chloe's edited clips, and a copy of Coach Price's email that Maya had asked to keep for her own record. "They are trying to make me look dangerous," she said. Marcus nodded once, not surprised. "How?" "Edited videos. Comments. People asking why I look like I want to fight. Brittany told me nobody would want my name near theirs by next week." Marcus's mouth tightened, but his voice stayed even. Did she say that where anyone could hear? Chloe's phone was up. Good. Maya looked at him. Good. Not good that she said it. Good that she keeps forgetting her own witnesses. He finally lifted the mitts. Hands up. Not tight. Ready does not mean tense. Maya raised her hands, and the first sequence began. Marcus called simple numbers, not fast, not loud. Maya moved with quiet precision, tapping the mitts without force, shifting her weight, resetting her feet. It was not the kind of training people imagined when they heard fighter. There was no shouting, no rage, no wild motion. Marcus did not train her to impress anyone. He trained her to stay clear-headed when someone else wanted chaos. 1, 2, step out. Maya moved. Again. She moved. Look at my shoulders, not the mitt. She adjusted. Breathe before the answer. She slowed. Between each motion, the garage filled with the soft thud of gloves, the low hum of an old freezer, and the distant sound of traffic passing beyond the driveway. On the wall above the heavy bag, partly hidden behind a hanging jacket, was a small photograph from 2 years earlier. Maya stood in headgear and gloves beside a ring, holding a modest trophy with a blue ribbon hanging from it. Junior regional champion, ages 14 to 16. She never talked about that photo at school. She had never posted it. She had never worn the medal. Marcus had let her keep the trophy, but he had made sure she understood what it meant and what it did not mean. It meant she had worked hard. It did not mean she owned the right to scare people. It meant she could protect herself. It did not mean she could let pride drag her into foolishness. When the sequence ended, Marcus lowered the mitts. What is the first rule? Maya answered automatically. Never start it. Second. Never perform for people with phones. Third. If there is a safe exit, take it. Fourth. She paused, because the fourth one always carried more weight. If there is no safe exit, protect myself and end the danger. Marcus watched her. And after? Tell the truth. All of it. He nodded and set the mitts on a workbench. That is why your notebook matters as much as your footwork. Maya sat on the edge of a weight bench and pulled one knee to her chest. Sometimes I hate that I have to be calm. They get to say whatever they want. They get to laugh. They get to make me look like the problem. And I have to stand there like none of it gets to me. Marcus sat across from her on an overturned bucket, his hands resting loosely between his knees. He looked less like a Marine then and more like a father who knew the cost of every lesson he had given. Calm does not mean it does not hurt. Maya looked up. He continued, softer now. Calm means you do not hand them the steering wheel. There is a difference. Maya's eyes moved to the photograph of him in uniform. Did you always know how to do that? Marcus gave a quiet laugh with no humor in it. No. I learned after I paid for not knowing. He leaned back, choosing his words carefully. When I was young, I thought strength meant reacting fast. Later. The Marines taught me that the person who controls the pace controls the room. But being your father taught me something harder. Power without control is just fear wearing muscles. Maya repeated the sentence silently, letting it settle. Marcus stood and walked to the shelf beneath the framed flag. He took down a small metal box and opened it. Inside were old newspaper clippings, certificates, a faded program from Maya's first youth tournament, and a photograph of her at 12 years old standing in oversized gloves, looking proud and nervous. You remember this day? He asked. Maya smiled despite herself. I almost backed out. You did back out. Twice. Then you went back in. I was scared. Exactly. He placed the photo on the bench beside her. That is why I was proud. Not because you won. Because you learned fear was not an order. Maya looked at the younger version of herself. In the picture, she looked small, serious, and determined to be brave enough for both of them. "They think if they scare me, they own me," she said. Marcus closed the metal box. "Then do not let fear write your choices. What if they trap me?" The question left her mouth before she could soften it. Marcus did not answer too quickly. He looked toward the taped square on the floor, then at the garage door, then back at her. "If someone blocks one exit, you look for another. If they block the room, you make noise. If there are cameras, you move where the truth can see you. If there are people watching, you speak clearly. You do not insult. You do not chase. You do not punish. You protect." Maya listened closely, because beneath every word was the part he did not say. He knew something was coming. "And if they put hands on me?" Marcus's face changed, not with anger, but with a father's controlled concern. "You create space. You do only what is necessary to get safe. Nothing more. You are not there to prove you can win. You are there to make sure you get home." The garage went quiet. For a moment, Maya could hear the refrigerator inside the house, the faint creak of the settling walls, the ordinary sounds of a life she wanted to keep ordinary. She did not want to be a champion at Westbridge. She did not want to be a lesson, a rumor, or a headline in somebody's group chat. She wanted homework, dinner, maybe a real friend, maybe a season where nobody measured her worth by how much disrespect she could carry quietly. But Brittany had already started building a cage out of whispers, edited clips, and borrowed power. Maya could feel the bars forming, even if nobody else wanted to name them yet. Marcus reached for the jump rope and handed it to her. 5 minutes easy. Then you are done for tonight. Maya stood and took it. Easy for regular people or easy for you? He almost smiled. Easy enough that you can still do your history homework. She began to jump rope, the rhythm steady against the concrete, each tap like a quiet metronome. Her face settled again, not empty, not cold, but disciplined. Marcus watched her and saw what Westbridge did not see, the little girl who had learned to breathe through panic, the student who wrote everything down because truth needed structure, the fighter who understood restraint better than most adults, and the daughter who was tired of being tested by people who had mistaken silence for surrender. At the same time, across town, Brittany Walker sat on her bedroom floor beneath shelves of cheer trophies and ring lights, scrolling through the Westbridge Watch group chat. Chloe had sent 3 edited clips. Tyler had suggested making Maya show everyone what she really is. Madison had not responded for 15 minutes. Brittany typed a new message, then deleted it, then typed another. "If she wants to act dangerous, maybe we should give her a reason to prove it." She stared at the words, pleased by how clever they sounded, and pressed send. In the Carter garage, Maya's jump rope continued striking the floor in a steady rhythm. She did not know the exact message Brittany had sent. She did not know the plan taking shape under cheer trophies and blue phone light. But when Marcus told her to stop, she landed softly, feet balanced inside the taped square, breathing calm, eyes clear. Her father nodded once. "Again tomorrow." Maya wrapped the rope around her hand and looked at the open garage door, where the night air moved cool and still. "Again tomorrow," she said. And somewhere beneath the quiet, beneath the hurt, beneath the patience everyone kept mistaking for weakness, the truth waited. Maya Carter was not looking for a fight. She was being trained every day not to need one. But if the door ever closed and there was no safe way out, Brittany Walker was going to learn that the quietest girl in Westbridge High had never been helpless. She had only been controlled. By the next morning, Maya Carter's notebook was no longer just a place where she kept track of assignments and strange looks. It had become a timeline. She did not call it that out loud, because saying the word made everything feel heavier, but that was what it was: dates, times, locations, names, screenshots, exact phrases, and small details other people forgot the moment they walked away. Her father had once told her that a truth without structure could be dismissed as emotion, but a truth with dates became harder to bury. So before school, while the kitchen still smelled like toast and coffee, Maya sat at the table and numbered the pages. Page 1 began with the cafeteria tray incident. Page 2 held the edited video. Page 3 listed the locker notes. Page 4 described the missing gym shoes, where they were found, and who had laughed when Coach Price asked questions. Page 5 had Tyler's hallway shoulder check and a cropped clip that made Maya look like the threat instead of the target. She printed the screenshots at the public library after school because Marcus did not want everything living only on a phone that could be lost, broken, or blamed on drama. He did not tell her to be afraid. He told her to be accurate. No opinions in the record, he said that morning, sliding a folder across the table. Only what happened, who saw it, and where proof might be. Maya placed the notebook inside the folder and looked at him. That sounds like a report. Marcus poured coffee into a travel mug. That is because people respect reports when they ignore pain. At Westbridge, Coach Angela Price was beginning to build her own record. She did not like doing it quietly, but she knew quiet documentation could become louder than hallway rumors when the right person finally had to listen. Before first period, she walked to the gym office, opened her school email, and created a folder labeled Carter Concern. Inside it, she saved the first message she had already sent to Principal Elaine Porter, then added a second one. This time, she included more detail: the cafeteria conflict, the presence of recording phones, the missing shoes, the repeated social media edits, and the pattern of the same students appearing around each incident. She did not use dramatic language. She used professional language that could not be dismissed as emotional. I am concerned this situation is escalating beyond ordinary peer conflict, she wrote. I recommend reviewing cafeteria, hallway, and gym camera footage from the past week and meeting with the involved students before further harm occurs. She copied the assistant principal and the school counselor, not because she expected courage from all of them, but because an email copied to 3 adults was harder to pretend no one had received. Principal Porter replied 27 minutes later with the same careful tone she used when she wanted a problem to shrink by itself. Thank you for the update, we will monitor, please encourage students to avoid speculation. Coach Price read the reply once, then saved it. Every message they ignored was becoming part of the story too. What Brittany Walker did not know was that Westbridge had installed new cameras in the gym 2 months earlier after athletic equipment went missing from the storage cage. The new system covered the main court, the side doors, the bleachers, and the hallway outside the locker rooms. Most students knew cameras existed, but they assumed they were like old-school decorations, present, dusty, and rarely checked. Brittany assumed that more than anyone. She had spent years performing in spaces where adults looked away, so she believed being recorded only mattered when she controlled the recording. That belief made her careless. At lunch, Chloe Bennett filmed another clip of Maya walking past the center tables. Brittany whispered just loudly enough for the phone to catch it. There she goes, building her little case. Chloe laughed and zoomed in on Maya's backpack. Maya heard the words, but she kept walking. What Brittany could not see was Maya pressing the side button on her phone 3 times, not to record secretly in some dramatic way, but to mark the time. Later, she would write down the exact minute, the table location, who was present, and the fact that Chloe had been filming again. Maya had learned that the point was not to win every moment. The point was to make every moment impossible to rewrite. Madison Reed had begun saving things too, though she had not admitted it to anyone. At first, she told herself she was keeping screenshots because Brittany deleted messages when plans got too ugly, and Madison wanted to remember what had actually been said. Then she told herself she was saving them in case someone blamed her. Then, after a while, she stopped inventing excuses and accepted the truth. She was scared of Brittany, but she was more scared of becoming someone who watched a trap get built and pretended she saw nothing. The Westbridge Watch group chat had grown sharper overnight. Brittany had written that Maya was trying to act like a victim. Tyler had answered that somebody needed to make her show her real attitude. Chloe had posted a laughing sticker and suggested they needed a video that could not be ignored. Madison read every message twice. Her thumb hovered over the exit group button, but she knew leaving would make Brittany suspicious. So instead, she took screenshots, saved them to a hidden folder, and backed them up to her school email draft box without sending them. It was not courage yet. It was not confession. But it was a crack in Brittany's wall, and cracks mattered. That afternoon, Coach Price pulled Maya aside after gym class near the equipment closet, where the hallway camera could see them but students could not easily hear. "I spoke to the counselor," she said. "I cannot force you to file a formal complaint, but I want you to know you have that option." Maya adjusted the strap of her backpack. "If I file it, does everyone get called in?" "Eventually." Maya looked toward the gym doors, where Brittany's laughter floated from the hallway. "Then they will know." Coach Price did not soften the truth. "They probably already know I am watching." Maya nodded slowly. "My dad says if people are trying to provoke you, they hate witnesses." "Your dad sounds like he has common sense." "He has rules." Coach Price almost smiled. "Good. Keep following them." Then her expression turned serious again. "Also, the gym camera system is active. I requested that footage from the last week be preserved." Maya looked up quickly. "Can the school delete it?" "The system overwrites after a period of time unless it is saved." "That is why I asked now." That sentence settled into Maya's mind like a key sliding into a lock. The truth could exist and still disappear if nobody protected it in time. "Thank you," she said. Coach Price nodded. "You keep your notebook. I will keep my emails." Across the hallway, Chloe pretended to fix her hair near a trophy case while recording them from a distance. She caught only a few seconds, Coach Price speaking quietly, Maya nodding, both of them serious. When Brittany watched the clip later, she smiled for the wrong reason. "Perfect," she said. "Now we can say Coach Price is coaching her on what to say." Madison frowned. Or maybe Coach Price is just checking on her. Brittany turned the phone screen toward Madison. "Do you want Maya taking your spot at regionals too?" Madison blinked. "She is not even on cheer." "Not the point." Brittany's voice cooled. "People like her take space by acting like everybody owes them something." Madison looked away. The phrase "people like her" hung in the air, ugly and familiar, dressed up as school gossip but carrying something older beneath it. Brittany did not have to say more. She rarely did. Her power came from implying what others were too cowardly to name. Tyler, who had been spinning a basketball against the wall, said, "So what is the plan?" Brittany glanced toward the gym doors. "We stop letting her control the story." "How?" Chloe asked. Brittany looked at Maya's quiet figure disappearing down the hallway. "We get a real reaction." The first part of that plan arrived as a fake account. Chloe made it after dinner, using a profile picture copied from the school athletics page and a name close enough to Coach Price's that a busy student might not notice at first glance. It was not an official school account, but it looked familiar, especially on a small phone screen. The message they drafted was simple: "Maya, come by the gym after school tomorrow. We need to talk about boxing club tryouts. Use the side entrance." Tyler said it sounded too formal. Brittany changed it. Chloe added a friendly tone. Madison watched the typing dots appear and disappear in the group chat, her stomach tightening. "This is a bad idea," she finally wrote. For almost a minute, nobody responded. Then Brittany replied privately, "Not in the group, you do not have to come if you are scared. But do not act surprised when people stop trusting you." Madison stared at the message until her eyes blurred. Then she took a screenshot. She saved that one twice. At home, Maya received the fake message while she was washing dishes after dinner. At first glance, it seemed ordinary, and that was what made it dangerous. She read it once, then again. Something about it felt slightly wrong. Coach Price usually used full sentences, never casual shortcuts, and she had already said she would speak to Maya during school hours if needed. Maya dried her hands and showed the message to Marcus. He read it silently. "Did she give you this number?" "No, then you do not go alone." Maya looked at him. "What if it is real?" Marcus handed the phone back. "Then a real adult will understand verification." Maya sent Coach Price an email from her school account. "I received a message asking me to come to the gym after school tomorrow. I wanted to confirm if it was from you." She did not receive an answer immediately because it was after hours, but the email existed now. Another timestamp. Another thread. Another piece of truth before the trap even closed. Marcus watched her place the phone on the table. "If she confirms it is fake, we report it. And if she does not see the email before tomorrow?" Marcus's face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. "Then you stay where cameras can see you. You tell someone where you are going. You do not enter a room because a message tells you to. And if you choose to check, you call me first." Maya nodded. She wanted to say she would avoid the gym completely, but something in her knew Brittany was not finished. Avoiding one door did not mean the hallway was safe. The next morning, Madison arrived at school early and stood outside the gym, staring at the side entrance. She knew what Brittany wanted. She knew Chloe would record. She knew Tyler would block the wrong place and call it a joke. She also knew that the new gym cameras faced the court and the side hall. Her father worked in building maintenance, and he had once complained over dinner about how the school paid for cameras but not enough staff to review them. Madison had never cared before. Now she cared too much. She walked to the counseling office, stopped, turned around, then stopped again. She was not ready to confess. Not fully. So she did the only brave thing she could manage in that moment. She opened a blank email to herself, attached the screenshots from the group chat, and typed one sentence in the body: "If something happens in the gym today, Brittany planned it." She did not send it to an adult. She saved it as a draft. Weak courage, maybe. But still courage trying to wake up. By the time the final bell approached, all the pieces were in place without Brittany realizing how many of them pointed back to her. Maya had her notebook. Marcus had seen the message. Coach Price had an unread verification email waiting in her inbox. The school had active gym cameras. The hallway camera covered the side entrance. Chloe's phone was ready to record, which meant she was ready to create evidence for the very people she wanted to humiliate. Madison had screenshots. Tyler had his own messages in the group chat. Brittany believed she was designing a moment where Maya would finally look unstable, angry, and dangerous. She believed the school would see only what Chloe chose to post. She believed power meant controlling the clip, the caption, and the crowd. What she did not understand was that truth had already begun surrounding her from every side, in emails, cameras, timestamps, saved drafts, adult records, and a quiet black girl's notebook. Brittany thought the trap would begin when the gym door closed. She was wrong. The trap had begun the moment she started leaving proof. The final bell at Westbridge High rang with the ordinary relief of a school day ending, lockers closing, sneakers squeaking, buses hissing outside the front entrance, and teachers calling reminders over the hallway noise. To most students, it was just another afternoon. To Maya Carter, it felt like the air had changed. She stood near her locker with her backpack over one shoulder, looking at the message on her phone again: "Come by the gym after school tomorrow, use the side entrance." The words looked casual, but everything about them felt wrong now. Coach Price had not answered the confirmation email yet, probably because she had been pulled into back-to-back meetings that morning. Maya had checked twice. No reply. Her father's rule moved through her mind with the steady rhythm of the garage floor: verify, stay visible, do not walk into a room just because somebody wants you there. She could have gone straight to the bus. She almost did. But then she saw Madison Reed at the end of the hallway, pale-faced, pretending to check her phone while watching the gym doors. Madison looked away too quickly. That was enough. Maya stopped walking. She did not follow the message blindly. She went first to the main gym entrance, where the hallway camera above the trophy case could see her. She pulled out her phone and called her father. "I am at the gym," she said when he answered. Marcus Carter's voice sharpened immediately, though he did not raise it. "Why? I think the message may be fake. I am not going in through the side entrance. I am staying by the main doors where the cameras are." There was a brief silence, the kind that held worry without letting it take command. "Put me on speaker if anything feels wrong." "Yes, sir." "And Maya?" "Yes." "No pride. No proving. Safe exit first." Maya looked through the narrow gym door window. The court was dimmer than usual, half the overhead lights off, the bleachers pulled out just enough to cast long shadows over the floor. "I know." She ended the call but did not. "Put the phone away." She texted him her location, then sent one more email to Coach Price. "I am outside the main gym doors now." The message said to use the side entrance, but I am not sure it was real. Another timestamp. Another thread. Then she opened the gym door. The moment she stepped inside, she knew. The court looked empty at first, too empty, the way a room can feel staged before anyone moves. Her shoes made soft sounds on the polished wood. Her backpack rested against her hip. She kept the door behind her partly open with one hand and called out, "Coach Price." Her voice carried to the rafters and came back unanswered. She took one step backward, already deciding to leave, when the side door near the equipment hallway opened and Brittany Walker stepped out with Chloe Bennett behind her, phone held low but pointed forward. Tyler Hayes came from the bleachers, and Madison appeared last, moving slower than the others, her face tight with regret. Brittany smiled as if she had just won something delicate. She wore her cheer jacket, white sneakers, and the bright expression she used when she wanted ugliness to look like confidence. "You came," she said. Maya kept her hand on the main door. This message was not from Coach Price. Brittany tilted her head. "Was it not?" Chloe laughed under her breath. Tyler moved casually toward the side of the court, close enough to make the gym feel smaller. Maya's eyes moved once, fast and controlled, main door, side door, camera near the scoreboard, camera over the bleachers, Chloe's phone, Tyler's position, Madison's hands shaking around her own phone. "I am leaving," Maya said. She did not explain. She did not insult. She did not ask permission. She turned toward the main door, but Tyler reached it first and pushed it shut with his palm. The sound of the latch catching spread through the gym like a line being crossed. Maya stopped, still facing the door. For one quiet second, nobody spoke. Then Brittany laughed. "Relax. Nobody is doing anything to you. We are just having a conversation." Maya turned slowly. Her face was calm, but her eyes were different now, clearer, measuring. "Open the door." Brittany folded her arms. "There it is. That attitude." "Open the door," Maya repeated, the same words, the same level voice. Chloe raised her phone higher. "Say it again. You sound threatening." Maya looked directly at the phone. "I came here because I received a message pretending to be from a school staff member. The door has now been closed while I am trying to leave. I am asking you to open it." Madison's face changed. She understood what Maya was doing. So did Brittany, a second too late. Maya was not panicking. She was making the truth plain for every witness in the room, including the ones Brittany had forgotten. Brittany's smile thinned. "You really do think you are smarter than everybody?" "No," Maya said. "I think this is a bad decision." Tyler snorted. "It is a door. Stop acting like you are in danger. Maya looked at him. Then move away from it. He did not. Brittany stepped closer, keeping several feet between them but taking up space with her voice. You have been writing things down, talking to Coach Price, trying to make everyone look bad because you cannot handle a joke. This is not a joke. It is if we say it is. That sentence landed harder than Brittany seemed to realize. Chloe smiled behind the phone, excited by the tension. Madison looked toward the scoreboard camera, then down at her screen. Her thumb moved. Maya noticed but said nothing. Brittany circled a little, not touching Maya, not yet, but trying to make the court feel like a stage. Here is what is going to happen. Chloe is going to record you admitting you lied about all of us. You are going to say you exaggerated because you wanted attention. Then we all walk out, and maybe I do not post what I already have. Maya's expression did not change. I am not admitting to something false. Brittany's face hardened. You do not get to come into my school and act like you can ruin people. I did not come to ruin anyone. You wrote our names down. Because you kept doing things worth writing down. Tyler's laugh died halfway out of his mouth. Chloe's phone stayed fixed on Maya, but the clip was no longer going the way they wanted. Maya was too steady. Too clear. Too impossible to edit into chaos without work. Brittany felt that control slipping and reached for the one tool she trusted most, humiliation. She walked to the bleachers, grabbed Maya's backpack from where it had slid off her shoulder when she entered, and tossed it onto the floor near center court. Books spilled out, along with the manila folder, printed screenshots, folded notes, and the small notebook with blue ink dates filling the pages. The sight of it on the floor made Maya's throat tighten, not because of the mess, but because every page represented patience she should never have needed. Still, she did not rush forward. She did not give Tyler a reason to say she charged. She stood where the camera could see her hands. Brittany crouched and picked up the notebook with 2 fingers, as if it were something dirty. Look at this, she said, turning toward Chloe's phone. She really has a whole diary about us. Chloe laughed, but it sounded less certain now. Brittany flipped a page and read in a mocking voice, cafeteria, tray blocked, Chloe recording, Tyler present. Tyler stepped closer, frowning. She wrote me in there. Maya spoke carefully. Put it down. Brittany looked up. Or what? The same challenge from the future, spoken before the locked gym would become the story everyone remembered. Maya took one slow breath. This is your last chance to stop before it becomes worse. That should have been the moment Brittany heard the warning. Not a threat. A door. A way back. But people who live too long without consequences often mistake mercy for fear. Brittany stood and smiled directly into Maya's face from several feet away. You hear that? She is threatening me now. Maya shook her head once. No. I am telling you to stop. Brittany held up the notebook. Maybe I should read this on camera. Maybe everybody should see how obsessed you are. Madison finally spoke, her voice small but shaking. Brittany, put it down. The gym went still. Brittany turned slowly. What did you say? Madison swallowed. This is too much. Chloe lowered the phone a little, surprised. Tyler looked between them, suddenly aware that the group did not feel as solid as it had 5 minutes earlier. Brittany's eyes narrowed. Do not start acting brave now. Madison looked at Maya's papers scattered across the floor, then at the camera near the scoreboard. She asked to leave. Brittany's face flushed, and for a second the polished queen of Westbridge disappeared, replaced by a girl terrified of losing control in front of witnesses. She is playing you, Brittany snapped. She plays everybody. That is what people like her do. The words hung in the gym, sharp and ugly, stripped of the jokes and captions that usually disguised them. Maya's eyes lifted to Brittany's face. The hurt was there, but under it was something stronger, the steady refusal to let another person define her worth. "People like me," Maya said quietly, "go home and tell the truth." Brittany rolled her eyes. "You are not going anywhere until we finish this." She turned to Tyler. "Stand by the door." Tyler hesitated. The hesitation was new. "Brittany. Stand by the door." He obeyed, but not with the same confidence. Chloe raised the phone again because recording was easier than deciding who she was. Maya looked at Tyler, then at the emergency alarm handle on the wall near the storage room, then at the space between the bleachers and the free throw line. She did not move yet. Her father's voice was not loud in her mind. It never was when it mattered. It was calm. "Safe exit first. If there is no safe exit, make noise. Move where truth can see you." Brittany stepped on one of the printed screenshots, not heavily, but enough to make the page slide under her shoe. "You think adults care about your little folder? Principal Porter cares about keeping this school clean. My family helped build half this gym." Maya looked at the scoreboard, at the donor plaque beneath it, then back at Brittany. "Money does not make this your building." Brittany laughed once, bitter and quick. "It makes people answer when we call." Maya's phone buzzed in her hand. "Marcus." She did not answer because she did not want to shift attention away from the room, but the vibration reminded her she was not as alone as Brittany wanted her to feel. She held the phone where the camera could see it and said clearly, "I am going to call my father now." Brittany's face changed. "No, you are not." "Yes," Maya said. "I am." Tyler took one step from the door, not toward her exactly, but toward the space between her and the exit. Maya stepped back into the open court, away from the bleachers, away from the cluster, placing herself beneath the clearest camera angle. It was such a small movement that most people would have missed its purpose. Marcus would not have. Coach Price would not have. Maya answered the call and put it on speaker. "Dad, I am in the gym." The message was fake. "They closed the door and will not let me leave." Marcus's voice came through the phone, low and controlled. "Maya, stay calm. Are you visible to cameras?" Brittany's smile faltered. Maya answered without looking away from the group. "Yes." "Is there an adult present?" "No." "Is there a safe exit?" Maya looked at the blocked door. "Not right now." Brittany lunged verbally, not physically, trying to reclaim the room. "Oh my gosh, this is pathetic. You called your dad. What is he going to do, come lecture us?" Marcus heard her. His voice stayed even. "Young lady, open the door and contact the school administrator." Brittany laughed too loudly. "You do not give orders here." Marcus did not take the bait. "Maya, do not argue. Make noise if needed. Move toward safety." Chloe's hand trembled slightly around the phone. Tyler looked at the main door as if it had become heavier. Madison was now crying silently, though she kept her phone close to her chest. Brittany saw all of it and knew the moment was slipping away from the story she had planned. So she made the worst choice yet. She walked to the wall and hit the switch that turned off another row of gym lights. The court dropped into deeper shadow, not darkness, but enough to make the bleachers look longer and the exits feel farther away. "There," Brittany said, voice shaking with anger disguised as confidence. "Now maybe she can stop performing for cameras." But the red light near the scoreboard kept blinking. So did the hallway camera beyond the small glass window. So did Chloe's phone, still recording because Chloe had forgotten to stop. Maya looked at the light, then at Brittany. "You just made this worse." Brittany stepped back toward the group, breathing harder. "No, you did. You came here acting like you were better than us." Maya's voice remained steady. "I came here because you lied. You came here because you wanted drama. I came here because someone pretended to be a teacher." "Stop saying that. Someone created a fake message. Someone closed the door. Someone took my notebook. Someone is recording this. Each sentence was simple. Each one another nail in the door Brittany thought she had locked from the outside. Tyler muttered, "Maybe we should just go." Brittany spun toward him. "Nobody is leaving until she admits she made this up." Madison shook her head. But she did not. For the second time, Madison said the truth out loud. This time, it landed. Chloe lowered the phone completely. Tyler stepped away from the door by half a step, not enough to free it, but enough for fear to show. Brittany stared at Madison as if betrayal were more offensive than the trap itself. "You are choosing her." Madison wiped her face. "I am choosing not to lie." Maya bent slowly, keeping her movements visible, and picked up the papers nearest her feet. She did not rush for the notebook in Brittany's hand. She did not snatch anything. She gathered what she could, then looked toward the emergency alarm. Brittany followed her gaze and realized what she intended. "Do not," Brittany said. Maya looked at her. "Open the door." "No, then I am making noise." Brittany scoffed, but there was fear inside it now. "You pull that, you are proving you are dramatic." Maya answered with the calmest voice in the room. "No. I am proving I asked to leave." She moved toward the alarm handle. Tyler shifted like he might block her, then stopped when Marcus's voice came through the phone again, firmer now. "Maya, do not let anyone crowd you. Keep space." Tyler heard the adult voice, saw the camera, saw Madison's tears, saw Chloe's phone, and finally understood that this was not a prank anymore. It was a record. He stepped aside. Brittany's face twisted with disbelief. "Tyler." He did not move back. Maya reached the alarm handle but did not pull it yet. She turned one final time. The gym was quiet enough to hear the buzz of the lights. Her notebook was still in Brittany's hand. Her papers were scattered. Her father was listening. Madison was crying. Chloe was recording without knowing what to do with the truth she had captured. And Brittany, the girl who had spent years turning humiliation into entertainment, stood at center court with every escape route closing around her except the one Maya had offered again and again. "Last chance," Maya said. "Open the door, put my notebook down, and call Coach Price." Brittany stared at her, then laughed, smaller this time, meaner because it had less power behind it. "Pull it then." So Maya did. The alarm screamed through the gym, sharp and immediate, pouring into the hallways, bouncing off the bleachers, cutting through every lie Brittany had planned to post. Red lights flashed near the exits. Marcus's voice came through the phone, steady and close. "Good. Stay where they can see you." Footsteps thundered in the hallway. A security guard shouted from outside the main doors. Coach Price's voice followed, urgent and unmistakable. Brittany froze with Maya's notebook still in her hand, and for the first time since Maya had transferred to Westbridge, the queen of the hallway looked like a student caught in a room she could not talk her way out of. The door handle rattled from the outside. Chloe slowly turned her phone toward the floor. Tyler backed away from the entrance. Madison whispered, "I am sorry," but Maya did not answer yet. She stood beneath the blinking camera, breathing evenly, one hand on her phone, the other holding the papers she had managed to save. The line had been crossed. The lie had become a trap, the trap had become a witness, and the witness had started screaming loud enough for the whole school to hear. The alarm did not sound like panic to Maya Carter. It sounded like proof. It screamed across the gym, sharp and mechanical, bouncing off the hardwood, the bleachers, the scoreboard, and the closed doors Brittany Walker had believed would keep the story inside. Red lights flashed above the exits. Somewhere beyond the wall, students shouted in confusion. The main door rattled again. From the hallway, and Coach Angela Price's voice cut through the noise, "Open this door now." For 1 second, nobody moved. Brittany still held Maya's notebook in one hand, but the confidence she had worn all afternoon had begun to crack around the edges. Chloe Bennett stood near the bleachers with her phone half raised, no longer sure whether she was recording a victory or evidence. Tyler Hayes had backed away from the door, his hands lifted slightly as if distance could separate him from the decision he had already helped make. Madison Reed stood frozen with tears on her face, clutching her phone against her chest. Maya remained near the alarm handle, breathing evenly, phone still connected to her father on speaker. Marcus Carter's voice came through low and steady. "Maya, stay visible. Do not move toward them." "Yes, sir," Maya said. Brittany snapped her eyes toward the phone, desperate for something to mock. "This is insane. You actually called your daddy to save you." Maya looked at her, calm enough to make the insult sound smaller than Brittany intended. "I called a witness." The door shook harder. A security guard shouted, "Step away from the door." Tyler looked at Brittany. "You need to unlock it." Brittany glared at him, but the alarm swallowed the force of her stare. The power in the room was moving, slowly but undeniably, away from the person who had locked the door and toward the person who had warned everyone before she pulled the alarm. Brittany tried to pull it back with volume. "She is lying," she shouted toward the hallway. "She set this up. She came in here acting crazy, and now she is trying to make us look bad." The word sounded familiar because she had used versions of them before. Angry. Dramatic. Dangerous. Attention-seeking. They had always worked in hallways, in captions, in offices where adults preferred soft explanations over hard truths. But this time the gym had a memory. The phone had a call log. The email had a timestamp. The cameras had red lights. The notebook had dates. And Brittany, still holding that notebook in her hand, had forgotten that stolen proof could also prove who took it. The main door opened from the outside after. The security guard used his key. Coach Price entered first, moving fast but controlled, with Principal Elaine Porter behind her and the school security officer at her side. The alarm continued flashing until the security officer silenced the panel, leaving behind a sudden ringing quiet. Coach Price's eyes went straight to Maya. She saw where Maya stood, away from the group, hands visible, face calm, papers gathered against her chest. Then she saw Brittany holding the notebook. Then the scattered pages on the floor. Then Tyler near the door. Then Chloe's phone. Her expression changed from concern to understanding. "Maya," she said, "are you hurt?" "No, ma'am," Maya answered. "I asked to leave. They closed the door. I pulled the alarm when they refused to open it." Principal Porter looked sharply at Brittany. Brittany recovered just enough to lift her chin. "That is not what happened. We were talking." She overreacted. Coach Price held out her hand toward Brittany. "Give me the notebook." Brittany clutched it closer. "It is not hers." The room went still. Even Chloe looked at Brittany as if that lie had been too careless. Maya spoke before Coach Price could. "My name is written inside the front cover." Coach Price did not raise her voice. "Give it to me." Brittany hesitated, and in that hesitation, Principal Porter saw the first detail she could not smooth over. A student accused of overreacting did not usually stand calmly under a camera while the student accusing her held her property. Brittany slowly handed the notebook over. Coach Price opened the front cover, read Maya Carter's name, then turned to Principal Porter without needing to explain. The first reveal was not the champion training. It was simpler and more damaging. Maya had been telling the truth about the pattern. Coach Price flipped through the pages, and each one turned the air heavier. Dates. Times. Locations. Cafeteria tray blocked. Chloe recording. Tyler present. Locker notes. Missing shoes found behind mats. Hallway clip edited. Fake message received. Confirmation email sent. Principal Porter's face tightened as the record became impossible to dismiss as drama. "Fake message," she said. Maya unlocked her phone and held it out. "I received this yesterday evening. I emailed Coach Price to confirm. I did not receive a reply before school ended, so I called my father before entering the gym and stayed near the main doors." Coach Price pulled out her own phone, checked her email, and her expression went cold. "I have the confirmation email. It was sent before this happened." Brittany's mouth opened, but no sentence came out clean. Principal Porter turned to Chloe. "Phone. Now." Chloe looked terrified. "I was just recording because Maya was acting weird." Coach Price stepped closer, voice controlled but firm. "The original recording, Chloe. Not an edited clip. The original." Chloe's hand trembled as she unlocked the phone. The video began with Maya entering the gym, calling for Coach Price, then turning to leave. It showed Tyler closing the door. It captured Maya saying the message was not from Coach Price. It captured Brittany demanding an admission, taking the backpack, picking up the notebook, mocking the pages, and refusing to open the door. The sound was clear enough that Brittany's own words returned to her in her own voice: "You are not going anywhere until we finish this." The room listened. Tyler stared at the floor. Madison covered her mouth. Brittany's face drained of color, not all at once, but slowly, as each second of the video took away another place for her to hide. Principal Porter stopped the clip and looked toward the security officer. "Pull the gym camera footage now. Preserve it. Main court, side entrance, and hallway." The security officer nodded and left. Brittany finally found her voice, but it came out thinner. She knew there were cameras. She planned this. Maya looked at her. "You planned the message." Silence followed. Madison made a small sound, half breath, half decision. Everyone turned toward her. She looked at Brittany once, and the fear that had kept her quiet for weeks finally broke under the weight of what she had just watched. "It was a fake account," Madison said. Brittany's eyes widened. "Madison." Madison stepped back from her as if the name itself was a command she no longer had to obey. "No. I have screenshots." Chloe whispered, "Madison, stop." But Madison was already opening her phone. The group chat. The plan. Brittany said they needed a real reaction. Chloe made the account. Tyler knew about the door. Tyler's head snapped up. "I did not know it was going to go like this." Coach Price's voice cut through him. "You closed the door when she tried to leave." Tyler went silent. Madison handed her phone to Principal Porter, who began scrolling. With every message, Brittany seemed to shrink inside the cheer jacket that had once looked like armor. The followers, the trophies, the donor money, the polished smile, the center table, the hallway kingdom, none of it could stop a saved screenshot from saying exactly what had been said. Then the second reveal arrived, the one Brittany had never imagined. The gym doors opened again, and Marcus Carter walked in beside the school resource liaison who had met him at the entrance. He was still in his work jacket, broad-shouldered, African-American, controlled, his expression calm in the way disciplined men become calm when anger has no right to drive. Maya's eyes moved to him, and for the first time since the alarm, emotion broke through her face. Not fear. Relief. Brittany looked him over and tried one last careless smile. Great. Now her dad is here. Marcus did not look at Brittany first. He looked at Maya. You followed the rules. Maya nodded. I stayed visible. I asked to leave. I made noise. Good. Only then did he turn to the adults. I am Sergeant Marcus Carter, United States Marine Corps veteran. I have trained my daughter in self-defense since she was a child, and I have also trained her never to use force when there is a safe exit. If she did not react the way these students wanted, that is because she has more control than the people who trapped her. The words landed with a different kind of force. Brittany had built her story around the idea that Maya was dangerous, unstable, waiting to explode. But the man standing beside her now revealed the truth beneath Maya's calm, not weakness, not attitude, not fear, but discipline. Coach Price looked at Maya again, and recognition moved across her face. The balance, the caught basketball, the steady tray, the careful distance, the way Maya had placed herself beneath the camera before pulling the alarm. None of it had been random. Principal Porter, still holding Madison's phone, looked at Marcus. You trained her competitively? Marcus paused, protective of his daughter's privacy, then answered only as much as needed. She has competed. She has won. That is not the point. Maya's eyes lowered briefly. Coach Price understood before the others did. The point is that she could have escalated and chose not to. Marcus nodded. Exactly. Brittany stared at Maya as if seeing the quiet girl for the first time and hating what she saw. All those days of trying to provoke a reaction, all those clips designed to make Maya look threatening, all those insults tossed like bait, and Maya had not failed to react because she was helpless. She had refused because she was trained. Because she knew what her hands could do and had chosen restraint anyway. The power in the gym changed completely then. It did not become loud. It became clear. Maya was no longer the isolated transfer student with rumors circling her name. She was the student with a timeline, a witness, a coach's emails, a father on the call, active cameras, original footage, and the discipline to have given Brittany every chance to stop. Principal Porter closed Madison's phone and looked at Brittany, Chloe, Tyler, and Madison. All four of you are coming to my office. Now. Parents will be contacted. The footage will be preserved. The district will be notified. Brittany's lips parted. My mother is on the booster committee. Principal Porter looked at the scattered papers, the notebook, the gym camera, and the Marine father standing beside his daughter. For once, Image had lost to evidence. Then she will receive the same call as every other parent. Brittany's face changed completely. No smile. No script. No audience laughing with her. Just the first honest recognition that the room no longer belonged to her. Maya bent down and gathered the last of her papers. Marcus helped without speaking. Coach Price handed Maya the notebook back with both hands, like returning something that mattered. You did everything right, she said. Maya held the notebook against her chest and looked across the gym at Brittany, who could no longer meet her eyes. The door that had been locked was open now. The cameras were still blinking. And everyone in that room finally understood the truth Brittany had worked so hard not to see. Maya Carter had never been the weak girl trapped in the gym. She had been the calm one giving them chances while they recorded their own downfall. Principal Elaine Porter did not take Brittany Walker, Chloe Bennett, Tyler Hayes, Madison Reed, Maya Carter, Coach Angela Price, and Sergeant Marcus Carter to the front office hallway where students could whisper through the glass. She took them to the conference room behind the main office, the room used for school board visits, donor meetings, and conversations adults hoped would never reach paper. This time, paper was already everywhere. Maya's notebook sat on the table beside the printed screenshots. Coach Price's emails were open on a laptop. Madison's phone lay face up with the group chat displayed. Chloe's original video had been copied to the school server by the security officer, and the gym camera footage was being preserved from 3 angles: main court, side entrance, and hallway outside the doors. Brittany sat with her arms folded, trying to rebuild the face that had carried her through years of consequences landing on other people. But the room did not bend toward her the way hallways did. There was no crowd to impress, no center table, no easy laughter waiting to rescue her. Principal Porter stood at the head of the table and watched the full video from the gym without speaking. The first clip showed Maya entering through the main doors, calling for Coach Price, and immediately turning to leave when no adult answered. The second angle showed Tyler closing the door after Maya moved toward it. The third showed Brittany holding Maya's notebook while Chloe recorded. The audio from Chloe's own phone filled in what the cameras could not hear clearly: Maya asking to leave, Brittany refusing, Tyler standing by the door, Chloe filming, and Madison finally saying that Maya had not lied. Every time Brittany shifted in her chair, the video answered before she could. When it ended, Principal Porter closed the laptop slowly. "This is not pure conflict," she said. The words landed like a gavel. Coach Price did not look satisfied. She looked relieved that someone had finally said the truth in the correct room. Brittany lifted her chin. She made it look worse than it was. Marcus Carter, seated beside Maya, did not move. Maya kept both hands around her notebook, her posture straight but tired. Principal Porter turned back to the screen. The footage shows she tried to leave. Brittany's mouth tightened. "We were joking." Coach Price spoke for the first time. "A joke does not require a locked door." Silence followed, thick and uncomfortable. Tyler stared at his shoes. Chloe wiped under one eye, though no one could tell whether she was sorry or just afraid. Madison kept her hands folded so tightly her knuckles looked pale. Principal Porter opened Madison's screenshots next. There was no way to soften them. The group chat showed Brittany talking about getting a real reaction. It showed Chloe helping create the fake account. It showed Tyler responding to the plan with jokes about making Maya prove herself. It showed Madison warning that it was going too far. It showed Brittany pressing her anyway. Principal Porter read each message, not dramatically, but clearly enough that nobody could pretend they were misunderstood. Then she opened Maya's email to Coach Price, sent before the incident, asking whether the message was real. She opened Coach Price's earlier emails documenting the cafeteria incident, the missing shoes, the edited videos, and the hallway harassment. The timeline was complete now. What Brittany had treated as scattered little humiliations had become one long chain, and every link pointed in the same direction. Principal Porter looked at Brittany. "Effective immediately, you are suspended pending a formal disciplinary hearing." Brittany blinked as if the sentence had been spoken in another language. "Suspended?" "Yes." "For how long?" "That will be determined after the hearing, but the recommendation will include removal from all student leadership positions for the remainder of the semester." Brittany's face changed. "Cheer captain. You are removed as captain effective today." That hit harder than the suspension. The cheer jacket on Brittany's shoulders suddenly looked less like a symbol and more like something borrowed. "You cannot do that right before regionals," she said. Coach Price answered quietly. "You did that." Principal Porter continued, "You will also be barred from school-sponsored athletics and public events until the board reviews the matter. Your parents will be called in today. The district will receive the evidence packet, including the video, the group chat screenshots, the fake account information, the prior reports, and the camera footage." Brittany's eyes sharpened with one last reflex of privilege. "My mother will call the superintendent." Principal Porter did not flinch this time. "She may. The superintendent will receive the same evidence." Chloe began crying harder when the consequences reached her name. Principal Porter turned to her. "Chloe Bennett, you are suspended pending hearing for creating or assisting with deceptive communications, recording a student for harassment purposes, editing and distributing misleading clips, and participating in the gym incident." Chloe shook her head. "I did not lock the door." Coach Price looked at her phone on the table. "You recorded the setup, edited earlier clips, and helped create the story that made the setup possible." Chloe had no answer. Her phone, once her weapon, had become the most honest witness against her. Tyler tried to speak before Principal Porter reached him. "I did not know they were going to take her notebook." "You closed the door," Principal Porter said. "You stood by it after she asked to leave. You participated in the group chat. You helped create the conditions that made her feel trapped." Tyler swallowed. His varsity confidence was gone now, replaced by the frightened look of someone realizing that being an athlete did not erase his choices. "You are suspended from the basketball team pending disciplinary review," Principal Porter said. "Your coach will be notified. The athletic director will receive the evidence." Tyler's face fell. Basketball was not just an activity to him. It was status, routine, college hope, applause. Losing it, even temporarily, stripped away the crowd he had hidden inside. Madison flinched when Principal Porter turned toward her. "Madison Reed, you participated in the group chat and were present in the gym." Madison nodded, tears spilling again. "Yes, ma'am. But you also preserved screenshots, objected to the plan, stated in the gym that Maya was telling the truth, and provided evidence when asked." Brittany glared at her, but Madison did not look back. Principal Porter continued, "You will still face consequences, including parent notification, counseling referral, and a disciplinary contract. But your cooperation will be noted." Madison nodded again, whispering, "I understand." For the first time, Maya looked directly at Madison. There was no friendship in the look yet, no easy forgiveness, but there was recognition. The truth had needed someone from inside the group to stop pretending. Then Principal Porter turned to Maya, and her voice changed. "Maya, the school is clearing your name in this matter. The claim that you threatened anyone in the gym is not supported by the footage. The edited clips circulating about you will be addressed. We will require students who posted or shared them through school accounts or during school activities to remove them, and the District Digital Safety Office will assist with documentation." Maya held the notebook tighter. The words should have felt like victory. Mostly, they felt like air returning after being held too long. Marcus looked at his daughter, and though his face stayed controlled, pride softened his eyes. Principal Porter continued, "I also owe you an apology. Coach Price raised concerns before today. Your records were clear. The school should have acted sooner." That sentence was harder for Porter than any suspension she had issued, and everyone in the room heard it. Maya looked at Coach Price, then back at the principal. "Thank you for saying that." She did not add anything else. She did not use the moment to shame the room. She accepted the truth and let it stand. By 3 o'clock, the consequences had begun moving beyond the conference room. Brittany's mother arrived first, walking fast in expensive boots, already angry before she reached the office. She demanded to speak privately, demanded to know why her daughter was being targeted, demanded that no decision be made before the booster committee heard about it. Principal Porter did something she had avoided for too long. She did not fold. She played the footage. She showed the group chat. She showed the fake message. Brittany's mother grew quieter with every clip. By the end, her anger had nowhere clean to land. Tyler's coach arrived next and watched enough to remove Tyler from the roster pending review before Tyler's parents even reached the school. Chloe's parents sat pale and stunned as they learned that their daughter's edited videos were not harmless posts but part of a documented harassment pattern. Madison's father cried quietly when he saw the messages and realized how close his daughter had come to helping destroy someone simply because she had been afraid of being excluded. That evening, Westbridge sent a formal statement to families without naming Maya. It said there had been a serious student misconduct incident involving harassment, deceptive electronic communication, unauthorized recording, and physical restriction of another student's ability to leave a school space. It said the district was reviewing procedures, preserving evidence, and cooperating with parents and administrators. But students knew enough. Stories moved fast, and this time the story did not belong to Brittany. Not because Maya posted revenge. She did not. Not because Marcus threatened anyone. He did not. The truth spread because too many people had seen pieces of the lie and now recognized the shape of it. By the next morning, the edited cafeteria clip disappeared from Chloe's account. Then the hallway clip vanished. Then the mocking comments started being deleted by students who suddenly remembered their names were attached. Brittany's cheer captain photo was removed from the athletic display case near the gym. Her name was taken off the regional's announcement board. Tyler's jersey was no longer hanging with the starting lineup. Chloe's phone was turned over to her parents under school instruction while the district reviewed the videos. The Westbridge Watch group chat, once a private little kingdom of cruelty, became evidence in a district folder. Maya returned to school 2 days later. She did not return like someone who wanted applause. She walked through the front doors in the same gray hoodie, with the same backpack, her braids neat, her face calm. The hallway changed anyway. Students who had whispered before now stepped aside for a different reason. Some looked ashamed. Some looked curious. A freshman girl near the lockers whispered, "I am sorry," so softly Maya almost missed it. Maya paused, nodded once, and kept walking. At her locker, the sticky notes were gone. The printed screenshot was gone. Someone had cleaned the tape residue from the metal door. Coach Price waited near the gym entrance, not hovering, just present. "You all right?" she asked. Maya looked down the hall, where the trophy case reflected a quieter version of the school. "I am here." Coach Price nodded. "That counts." During lunch, Maya sat at her wall table again. This time, nobody asked why she was alone. A student from English class stopped by and asked if the seat across from her was taken. Maya looked at the chair, then at the student's nervous face. "No," she said. "You can sit." It was not a grand ending. It was not everything fixed. But it was something returned. Her name was no longer a rumor Brittany controlled. Her calm was no longer being used as proof against her. Her notebook was back in her bag, not as a shield she had to hold up every second, but as the record that had helped the truth survive long enough to be heard. Across the school, Brittany Walker learned what she had never believed would happen: the door could close on her too. Not a gym door. A consequence. No captain title. No regional spotlight. No edited clip to save her. No adult willing to call it pure conflict after watching the footage. The power she had borrowed from popularity, money, and silence had finally met something stronger than fear. It met evidence. It met witnesses. It met a girl who had been trained not to explode when trapped, and because Maya Carter kept control when Brittany lost hers, the entire school finally saw who had been dangerous all along. The week after the hearing, Westbridge High changed in ways no assembly speech had ever managed to change it. At first, the change was quiet. Students noticed that the gym cameras, once ignored like ceiling decorations, were being checked by the security office every afternoon. New signs appeared near the main hallway, the cafeteria entrance, and the gym doors explaining that harassment, intimidation, unauthorized recording, and blocking a student from leaving a space would be treated as serious misconduct, not ordinary drama. Principal Elaine Porter sent another message to families, this one less polished and more direct, acknowledging that the school had failed to act quickly enough when early warning signs were reported. She did not name Maya Carter, but everyone knew whose patience had forced the truth into the open. Coach Angela Price was asked to help design a new reporting process, and she refused to let it become another form that disappeared into someone's inbox. She insisted on an anonymous student reporting system, written response deadlines for administrators, longer preservation periods for security footage, and a rule requiring all reports involving repeated harassment to be reviewed by more than one adult. The school board approved it because the evidence from the gym had made delay look worse than reform. What had happened to Maya could no longer be described as a misunderstanding after the cameras, emails, screenshots, and notebook had all told the same story. Once the policy changed, other students began finding their voices. A sophomore named Leah, who had once eaten lunch in the library after Brittany turned the school against her, came to Coach Price's office with 2 years of saved messages. A boy from the basketball program admitted Tyler and others had been pressuring younger players to laugh along at cruel posts. A freshman girl brought printed comments from Chloe's old account and whispered that she had thought no one would believe her because the popular kids always looked innocent in front of adults. One by one, the stories arrived, not as gossip, but as records. Dates. Screenshots. Witnesses. The same pattern Maya had used became a language other students could borrow. Westbridge had spent years teaching bullied students to be quiet, forgiving, and convenient. Now those students were learning that documentation was not bitterness. It was protection. The school counselor opened weekly support meetings for students who had been targeted online or in person, and for the first time, the room filled. Not with dramatic confessions, but with nervous honesty. Students talked about edited clips, private group chats, lunchroom isolation, locker notes, and the way adults sometimes called cruelty conflict because conflict sounded easier to manage. Coach Price attended the first meeting and told them plainly, you should not have to become investigators to be believed. But until every adult does better, keep your truth organized. That sentence spread faster than any rumor Brittany had ever posted. Marcus Carter was invited to speak during a student leadership program, but he did not walk in like a hero looking for applause. He came in a plain jacket, stood beside Maya only for a moment, then addressed the room with the same calm discipline he had taught in the garage. He told them that strength was not about embarrassing someone weaker, not about controlling a hallway, not about making people fear your name. Power without control is just fear wearing muscles, he said, and even the students who had never met Maya wrote it down. He explained that courage could look like walking away, asking for help, keeping records, telling the truth, or refusing to laugh when someone else was being humiliated. Madison Reed sat in the second row, eyes fixed on the floor for most of the talk. Afterward, she stayed behind and gave Coach Price a longer statement about old group chats, deleted posts, and moments when Brittany had pressured her to stay silent. It did not erase what Madison had done, and Maya did not pretend it did. But it helped reopen old complaints, and sometimes accountability began with someone finally choosing not to lie. Brittany's name disappeared from the cheer banners, but the bigger change was that no one replaced her with another queen. Coach Price made the cheer team vote on a new leadership code before selecting a temporary captain. The basketball coach created a conduct agreement that tied playing time to behavior off the court as much as performance during games. Teachers received training on recognizing patterns of harassment instead of waiting for one explosive incident. Principal Porter met privately with Coach Price and admitted that donor pressure had made her cautious when she should have been protective. Coach Price did not soften the answer. A school that protects its image before its students loses both. Porter had no defense, so she began doing the work. She met with the district, reviewed every ignored complaint from the past 3 years, and sent letters to families whose children had been failed by vague phrases like peer conflict and personality clash. None of it fixed the past completely, but it broke the habit of pretending the past had not happened. Maya watched these changes from a careful distance. She did not become loud after being vindicated. She did not post speeches or turn the hallway into her stage. Some students expected her to act triumphant, but Maya had never wanted revenge as a performance. She wanted to walk through school without being hunted by a story someone else created. Still, she could feel the air shifting. At lunch, the wall table was no longer a place of isolation. Some days one student sat with her. Some days 3 did. Sometimes Leah joined. Sometimes the freshman girl from the support meeting brought homework and said nothing for 20 minutes, and Maya let the silence be safe. In the gym, the place that had once been used to corner her became the beginning of something different. Coach Price opened a self-defense confidence club after school, not a fight club, not a place for showing off, but a place where students learn posture, awareness, boundaries, and how to use their voices before fear stole them. Marcus helped once a week, always beginning with the same rule: if there is a safe exit, take it. Maya helped younger students with footwork, but she never made them feel small for not knowing. When one nervous freshman asked if learning to stand balanced would make bullies leave her alone, Maya looked at the open gym doors and answered honestly. Maybe not right away. But it will remind you that you are not as easy to move as they think. That became the real change at Westbridge. Not just suspensions. Not just deleted videos. Not just policies typed on school letterhead. The real change was that students who had once lowered their eyes began looking around. Cameras were noticed. Adults were questioned. Group chats no longer felt invisible. Cruel laughter became riskier when people understood that silence was not guaranteed. Maya had not saved the school by becoming what Brittany feared. She had changed it by staying controlled long enough for the truth to collect witnesses. And because she had refused to let one locked door define her, Westbridge High finally had to open doors for everyone else. 1 month later, Maya Carter stood at the open doors of the Westbridge High gym and realized the room no longer sounded the same. The last time she had stood there, the air had carried the sharp echo of an alarm, the cold flash of red lights, and the weight of a lie trying to close around her. Now the doors were propped wide with rubber stops, sunlight spilled across the polished hardwood, and students filled the bleachers for the first self-defense confidence assembly Coach Angela Price had organized under the new school policy. Nobody had turned the gym into a shrine to what happened. Maya was grateful for that. Healing, her father had told her, was not replaying the worst day until it became your whole identity. Healing was walking back into the room and discovering it no longer owned your breathing. She wore a navy Westbridge sweatshirt, black sneakers, and her hair pulled back neatly, the same simple style she had worn when everyone first decided she was easy to underestimate. Marcus Carter stood near the back wall in a plain jacket, arms folded, quiet pride in his eyes. He did not wave. He did not need to. His presence was steady enough. Coach Price called Maya to the center of the court, not as a victim and not as a spectacle, but as a student who had helped the school learn a lesson it should have known already. Maya walked forward slowly. The floor beneath her feet was the same floor where her papers had scattered, where her notebook had been taken, where she had chosen the alarm instead of anger. But today, students were not holding up phones to mock her. They were watching with the careful silence of people who understood that some rooms change only after someone refuses to disappear inside them. A freshman girl stood beside Maya, nervous and small in an oversized hoodie. Maya showed her how to stand with feet shoulder-width apart, knees soft, shoulders relaxed, eyes up. Strong does not mean tense, Maya said, her voice carrying across the gym. Tense gets tired. Balanced can breathe. Coach Price smiled from the sideline because the words sounded like Maya and Marcus at the same time. The freshman tried the stance again, and this time she did not look at the floor. A few students clapped softly, not loud enough to embarrass her, just enough to let her know they saw the difference. Maya turned toward the bleachers. I used to think being strong meant making sure nothing hurt you, she said. But that is not real. Things hurt. Words hurt. Being lied about hurts. Being alone in a hallway hurts. Strength is what you do after it hurts. It is telling the truth clearly. It is keeping control when someone wants your worst reaction. It is asking for help before silence becomes a cage. And sometimes, it is opening a door for the next person. No one cheered at first. The quiet was better. It meant they were listening. In the second row, Madison Reed sat with her hands folded, no longer trying to hide behind Brittany Walker's shadow. She had started volunteering with the counselor's reporting program, not because it erased what she had done, but because accountability had to become action or it was only guilt wearing nicer clothes. Leah sat nearby with 2 other students who had once eaten alone. Tyler was gone from the starting lineup and working through his disciplinary contract. Chloe had not returned to posting videos. Brittany's absence was felt only as a space where fear used to stand. Maya did not need to see her punished again to know justice had happened. Justice was not just what Brittany lost. It was what other students gained. A reporting system that worked. Cameras preserved before evidence vanished. Adults who could no longer hide behind the phrase peer conflict. A gym where the doors stayed open. After the assembly, Maya stayed behind to help Coach Price stack cones near the wall. Marcus walked over and picked up the last one without being asked. You did good, he said. Maya looked across the court, then at the doors. I did not feel brave the whole time. Marcus nodded. Brave rarely feels like brave while it is happening. She smiled faintly. That sounds like another garage rule. It is now. They left the gym together as the afternoon light stretched across the hallway. Maya passed the trophy case, the cafeteria entrance, and the wall where students had once whispered her name like a warning. This time, a younger student she barely knew lifted a hand and said, "See you at club next week." Maya nodded. "See you there." Outside, the air was cool, and the buses lined the curb in a long yellow row. Maya paused on the steps, looking back through the glass doors at the gym behind her. The place that had been used to trap her had become the place where someone else learned how to stand. That was the part Brittany never understood. Humiliation could make a moment loud, but dignity could outlast it. Maya adjusted her backpack and walked beside her father toward the parking lot, not as the girl Westbridge had tried to define, but as herself, calm, protected by truth, strengthened by restraint, and free to leave through any open door she chose.